Welcome everybody, I'm Jeff Barton and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We're on each and every week. Thanks for tuning in. We bring to you, or try to bring to you, some answers to questions that you might have about real estate. A lot of things going on in the market today, which is confusing. It's not necessarily a direct line up whereby today you buy, tomorrow you sell, and you made some money. If it was, then this would be a very simple profession. But it's not like that. And if you're an investor, if you're a buyer, if you're a seller, you know this. Neighborhood you saw last week has gone up in price, whereby the neighborhood you saw 3 months ago has gone down in price. Why is that? Why does real estate do things like it does? There are opportunities? Absolutely. There are places that you want to live? Certainly. School systems are important. How power is delivered to you is important. The cost of living, cost of food, transportation costs, all of these things are important when you're choosing real estate, when you're choosing a place to live. If you're an investor, yes, they're important, but they're not as important, let's say, as the market conditions. So let's talk about a few of these things in detail now. The market gone up 10% this year. Now, we were expecting probably closer to 15 to 17% market increase, but it hasn't happened. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons it is because the inventory itself has gone up because the demand went down. We had a slower than expected summer season, and now that it's past September, when most kids are back in school and most people that need to move have already moved, we're finding that houses are sitting a little bit longer. We had earlier shows talk about 2 and 3 month supply. I think it's more like 3 to 4 month supply. Normal supply is 5 to 6 months. So it's still a seller's market, but not quite what it was. We're seeing inventories rise, i.e. prices won't go up as fast because there just aren't as many buyers as there were over the May to June time period. Prices actually less this year over year than they were the previous year. For instance, if you're seeing today's price increase of 10%, last year we were seeing 16%, as I said. And that's an important distinction to make. Is that a local issue? Is that a temporary issue? Or is this more of a market trend? These are the things to understand if you're pricing your house to sell. If you're pricing your house to sell, you want to make sure that you're not chasing the market down if in fact this is a down market. If you price it correctly, you will get more than one offer, and that's an indication that you're obviously priced in the right area. Inventory, rise or fall. Inventory has risen, as I've said. What we're looking for is an increased inventory through the holiday season, probably until next April or May. And why do I say that? Because during the winter months, we don't see the same number of sales that we normally see during the spring and summer buying season. It's just not the way it's been. Now, we've got a lot of larger economic issues dealing with both employment and whether the federal government is going to be giving away any more tax-free benefits in terms of stimulus package or reduction in taxes, which is really what's fueling a lot of the purchase power in the U.S. right now. That tax incentive, the reduction in taxes that President Trump pushed through Congress is adding to the fact that people can spend more money. How is that going to affect the real estate market? Well, we just don't know when that bump will end. And so that's why we say you have to be very conscious of that fact when you're selling. Certainly when you're buying, you want to make sure that you're buying in the best possible market, so things to be aware of. The real estate scams and mortgage frauds are on the increase, especially in a marketplace that has traditionally had some issues with that. I was talking to someone off air about real estate scams when it comes to title. People wanting cash rather than to go through a title company. Why is that? You want to make sure that obviously when you're buying real estate, you're looking at the title report and you're doing everything through a title company. Title insurance is your only protection towards clouds on title. So you want to make sure that if you're buying and selling real estate, you do that and you get your proper title insurance in place. Anyway, I'm Jeff Barton. I'm glad you're here, glad you're watching the show, and we'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with Super Grow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your Super Grow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We're on each and every week, and we try to bring to you some answers to questions that you're going to have. You know, there are a lot of questions out there in the real estate market right now. Where are prices going? Are there any opportunities left in the marketplace? Can I get to work without having to wait on that darn freeway every day? Things that are going to affect your decisions about where you want to live, like the schools or how much the cost of the rent is. We've had people on the show in the past to talk about how the availability of properties is affecting where people are living, and they go further and further out, making their commute time longer and longer. It's a problem if you're on a fixed income or if you're on a low income basis. So there are a lot of reasons why we need to update what's going on in the real estate market and understand where the opportunities are for you. And that's what we do here on the show. This week, once again, we bring a terrific guest on the show to talk about the real estate market, real estate agent, Rebecca Fitzgerald. And I want to welcome you back to the show. Hi.
Hi, Jeff. How you been?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Okay, personally, professionally, what's the best part of real estate for you?
Personally, I kind of like the idea if you make the right investments at a low peak and you sell it high, like you can basically live off of the earnings if you really are smart about it.
Right.
And
right.
you can, and being in real estate, you can find out about deals and different things like that.
Right, exactly. And professionally?
Professionally, I like it because you get a lot of freedom. You kind of get to set your own schedule. You get to choose your own clients, and that's kind of a beauty in it.
Okay, house flipping. Let's start right away with that because I know you've had some experience in that. Advice for first-time house flippers?
Probably find a coach, somebody that's been there in the past. Even if you do have to pay them, that's the best things, that they know the ins and outs, so you don't screw up. Because I mean, there's not a lot of spread usually in these flips.
Right.
So if you screw up, you really could lose all your money. And you really need to have a thorough inspection, make sure the plumbing and the electrical, and make sure those aren't going to be problems down the line.
Okay, and you're talking about spread. I've talked on the show in the past about how the spread on properties is shrinking, and it could be a sign that we've peaked in the marketplace. What's your idea on that?
There's maybe some sort of truth to that, but also it's just I think people are kind of a little more savvy, and they're trying to get top dollar for their house because they know that there's a lot of people that are doing wholesaling. They're just buying them and selling them to flippers.
Right.
And there's vultures are all out there, all trying to get that same house. So there's kind of these people are getting letters in the mail. I get letters in the mail about my own properties. Just we want to buy your house. So they're getting that for 3 or 4 different people. So they'll play all these people against each other. A lot of them will.
So this has become a much more sophisticated market in terms of ferreting out good deals.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what would be your advice to anybody who's trying to break into the market? Obviously, you said coach, but in terms of ferreting out properties,
It's to try to get a hold of wholesalers,
Right.
people that get the product first, and the initial person before it goes through like a wholesale chain. There's
Right.
a lot of people that are like, oh, they have investors, and then you have to go through all these different people, and then each person tax on $5,000, and then that $220,000 house becomes $240,000, and the ARV might be $300,000, and it just the numbers become very, very thin at that point.
I see. Now, you've worked downtown, you've had properties down there. What is the opportunity in that area of town?
There is still opportunity in that area of town. There's a lot of absentee owners in that area. There's a lot of older people, and a lot of these people don't sell because they think possibly, oh, my house needs too much work, I can't sell it, it's not going to they have like a lot of negativity because those houses are old. But if you're able to locate those properties and just tell somebody, hey, I'll give you cash, or you're able to negotiate something like that, there is some opportunity down there.
Okay, let's update everybody on what's happening in the real estate market in general. Give us sort of an overview of what's going on in Las Vegas.
It's still been a pretty hot market. Las Vegas is probably, or it has been the #1 gains for the year so far. I think Seattle is right after us. So the prices are continuing to go up. It has seemed to be leveled off. Last month, I think it actually did. The pricing did go down, but there is still very short inventory. It's only 2 months worth of inventory. The normal market is 5 to 6 months,
I see.
which since we're getting into the winter months, that will probably adjust and there will overcorrect. But I still think, even going through next year, and in next year even, the prices will continue to go up. Maybe not as rapidly as they have, but I do see them continuing to climb.
Buyers, sellers, which do you like to deal with?
That's kind of a really complicated question. Sellers are easier because you just list the house, but you don't know when someone else is going to come buy it. So if we're talking about monetary aspect, buyers are a little nitpicky, and it's going to be the house that they're going to live in, and you have to show them a bunch of houses. So that can be kind of annoying, but they're usually ready to go. So okay, as soon as I just locate a property, 30 days it's going to close.
Right.
Opposed to having a seller that you might have to list their house for 2-3 months before you find a buyer for it.
How do you prepare your buyers? What do you tell them in terms of what they need in order to get the property that they're looking for? Because there's probably multiple offers on a property.
They really have to be ready, and they have to be get all their financing in order. Like everything has to be ready to go, and just to make a competitive bid. You kind of can't tell people what to do, but to make it a competitive bid, and based on their income and their financial situation, come to the table with the best offer that they're willing to go towards, because there are other people that are going to be looking at the same properties.
Do you push people to do no contingency offers? Do you push people to try to do as much cash down as possible, the lowest interest rate? Or what are your financing in terms of how you're preparing people for, I don't know, the ability to get the property?
You really should talk to a mortgage person about that. However, I personally, the way I look at it, the person is going to get paid no matter how they get paid.
Right.
A lot of people want to take that buyer that has 20% down because they look like they're, like the seller would think, oh, this is like a more
Stronger buyer.
Yeah, stronger buyer, which isn't necessarily true. Like that person with 20% down, they might not really have like the loan in place, or their income. They might be like they might be a bank statement program. They might be somebody whose the loan isn't 100% there. So the money's the money. It's going to go into the seller's account, like regardless of if they have 100% financing or they have 50% financing, if it's all cash. Obviously if it's an all cash deal, like the seller would want to take that, but no, I don't ever tell my clients not to do contingencies. I always make sure there's at least a 10-day due diligence with an inspection period, because the inspection is really important. You don't know what the inspector might pick up. They might have, the roof might be all the way redone. They might need all kinds of things need to be done with the property that you might not just be able to see. And an inspector will pick up a lot of these things.
Okay, and pricing on inspections around town, what does it cost for an inspector?
It depends on the size of the house. Usually, like a normal size house would be $150, $200. When it gets, or condos and things like that are around the same price. When it gets like the bigger houses, they go up $250 and above. Usually, it shouldn't be over $300 or $400.
Now, when you're negotiating with both title or escrow, do you find that your ability to choose a company that the buyer and seller cares? Because in the business, we always like to get the people we like because we're confident in their ability to do things. Some buyers like to bargain or like to negotiate prices on all of this stuff. Do you find that? Because I don't see buyers doing that, and I think it's a good idea to do that. What do you think?
It's not the buyers that are doing this, because the buyers are buying one house every 4 or 5 years. It's
Right.
the real estate agents that
Right.
are really pushing like a certain person. Personally, I'm going to use Fidelity because I get discounts and things
course.
like that. If that's my own personal house, I wouldn't even sell it to somebody unless they're going to go through them because of the connections that I have. But other people might have a long-standing relationship with Driggs or Equity, and at that point, like, the real estate agent might be able to get their buyer a discount. But I mean, we're talking about a few $100s, things like this. This is really a negligible amount. It's really the real estate agent that's trying to create some sort of loyalty with this person, which, I mean, it can neither here nor there. I mean, a title company's going to do their job regardless. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
really,
agree.
it's never the title company that's the one that the deal falls through. It's usually a financing or buyers back out or different things like that. Is the real reason things don't go through. It's not the title company.
Where do you see the market going by first of the year?
I think it's going to kind of stable out, because especially since it's the winter months, people don't like to move during the holidays. I think it'll kind of stay steady. It'll continue to move, not quite as rapidly, but I think the prices will kind of stay around the same as they are right now throughout the winter.
And if someone wanted to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
You can use my cell phone, 512-923-3489. It's a Texas number.
Okay, very good. Rebecca, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate it for coming on the show once again. Okay, Rebecca Fitzgerald, real estate agent here in town, and I'm Jeff Barton, your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We'll be right back.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Jeff Barton, your voice and host in the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We're on each and every week. Thanks for tuning in. We try to bring solutions for your real estate problems. And what I mean by that is, if you're an investor out there right now and you're looking for something in order to spend money, in order to make money, it's kind of tough. You need experts in the field. You need somebody who can really ferret out deals. Now, maybe you think you can do it on your own, and it's possible. I know house flipping is a big positive investment vehicle for a lot of investors, especially first-timers here in Las Vegas. But if you're looking for something more substantial, maybe something in the commercial, or maybe something in hotels or industrial, you really need somebody who's been around and knows the market really well. In that, we bring Ron Mendocino from Mendocino Real Estate on the show, and we're bringing him back once again to give us some overview as to what's happening in the real estate market on the commercial side. Ron, how are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
Glad to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. How are you feeling?
Wonderful.
Excellent, very much. You getting out on the course much anymore?
Nope. Too damn old for that.
No, very good. All right, give us a little update on what's happening, a little overall view of the commercial market currently in Las Vegas.
There's a tremendous amount of interest going on, especially from California, that we get a lot of investors and so forth.
Right.
But we're being exposed as a little smaller city. 40 million people come to visit, but we're a little product poor right now. The investors are flocking and looking for good investment properties, retail centers and so forth, but the return is, in the average market, has dropped from 6.4 to 6 months ago down to 6% returns. So we're product poor.
What's the average rate of return in a normal market here in Las Vegas?
Well, it used to be 7% cap rate was typical, and a little tougher properties might be towards an 8, but now we're down to 6. There's just too much demand and not enough supply.
And that is both in the retail, office, industrial, all aspects of the market?
Basically, retail is what we're seeing on the market. A couple of large companies, Majestic Realty out of California, owners of the LA Kings and so forth, they have come into town and developed, and a group from Portland, Oregon, Harsh Investments, they have bought up a tremendous percentage of the industrial market, and they never sell.
Right.
So there's very little available there. Apartment market is an incredible turnover, where we've gone to essentially as much as $100,000 to $120,000 per door.
Wow.
So apartments is a hot market, and that's forced the rents up.
What are the rents currently? What are they going for? They're like...
There are 3 levels. We have the older properties near the Strip, accommodating strip workers, and that's $600 to $800 a month for 2-bedroom in a tough neighborhood. And then the next level is $880 to $1,000 a month. But there's a newer product, anything built in the last 5 to 8 years, we're looking at $1,200 to $1,600 a month for a 2-bedroom. It's gotten out of hand.
That's very, very high compared to what it's been historically in the last 20 years.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, in the southwest part of town, they're building new apartments significantly, and because of the demand and the Raiders Stadium, we had the gentleman before, they're part of this, the land cost has gotten ridiculous in the southwest part of town where the stadium is.
Right.
We've gone from $400,000 an acre to $1 million an acre just for raw land. And industrial, it makes it very difficult. That's led to a serious number of apartments being developed. But are you ready for this? They've gone to 5-story apartments.
In that part of town? Or
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is we've had the towers for living, have been in town the last 10 or 12 years,
right,
and gotten people accustomed to the idea you can live higher. And they've been forced into, because of land costs, building 5 stories with an elevator. And it's actually working. And they stop at 5 stories because you can do traditional building up to that height, and then you get into skyscraper specifications and building codes. So they're going 5-story for the apartments, and boy, they're expensive.
They are expensive. How do you think we can sustain that? Do you think there's enough employment in town? Do you think there's enough income in that employment to be able to sustain people who obviously want to live here, but maybe can't afford the apartments?
Well, the folks living in apartments, I think one thing's overlooked perhaps. In Las Vegas, you have workers in the hotel who are making $30,000 or $40,000 a year as a housekeeper, maid, and so forth.
Right.
And if you get 2 of those folks living together, basically they're looking at $70,000, $80,000 a year.
Right.
For a household. So they have to afford it. It's just that simple. It's certainly shutting down people making $25,000 a year or less.
Right, that's what, on the low end, it's very tough.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, the low end rentals being, as you were saying, from $600 to $800, you know, for someone making $18,000 a year, that's rough.
Absolutely.
And there are, in this town, a lot of people making between $18,000 and $25,000 a year.
More than are making 80.
Yeah, absolutely right. Opportunities, where do you see opportunities? Or is it just one of those markets where you're just going to have to wait it out until there are opportunities?
We have to adjust to that. So when we look at investors, now we're looking at cash people coming out of exchanges. And California is a feeding area without a doubt. Someone who, and we're back to this again, bought a home for $30,000 30 years ago. Now it's worth $1.2 million. So they sell their home and they move here with $1.2 million and they buy a home for $400,000 or $300,000 to $400,000, rent an apartment for $17,000 to $2,000 a month. They've got $1 million in the bank left, and it's a great place to live if you're retired.
No, exactly. But a lot of these people want some kind of residual income, which again drives the demand for any kind of commercial up. Or they want to open a little shop, or they want to do something other than just sit in the house and have their money sit in a bank.
I had a client from back east looking to open a little 1,500 square foot restaurant, family restaurant, because they'd been in that business.
Right.
3 years I've been unable to find anything that made any sense.
3 years.
So it's a frustrating thing for the commercial brokers. We're kind of wending our way through it.
Right. Right. Now, you've been here a long time, right?
40 years.
40 years. And you've seen markets come and go, up and down.
Absolutely.
In terms of historically, where do you see us in this market?
You know, the town is growing up. Look at the money that went into the Golden Knights.
Right.
People spent put up $10,000 to reserve tickets. We're growing up as a city. The issue is we don't have that much product. We're a small place because 40 million people are coming here, injecting money into the society, but the people who live here, as just mentioned, is 2.5 million people.
Right.
So it's still growing. We have some land available. Interestingly enough, the residential market has gotten quite remarkable. For example, in April, one home builder spent $69 million on vacant land because the prices had fallen. Another one 2 months ago spent $30 million on vacant land, stockpiling it, and they're building homes. It's just driven the values up and up and up.
Now, I don't see the wholesale building that we saw in the early 2000s up to 2006. I don't see like large-scale, massive building. I see infills, I see 10 to 12 houses going up. They're mostly built on contract as opposed to built on spec.
Actually, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of home.
Great. Tell me where it is.
Going up. The Southwest is finally developing because of the BLM selling parcels over the years. A person could buy 400 acres or 300 acres, but now the Southwest is way smaller, so they're buying little pieces here and there.
I see.
And it's developing very strongly.
Yeah, you know, I flew over the last couple of days, and it was interesting because what I was seeing parcels being developed, but not necessarily a lot of them. That's why I observed rather than, you know, have the knowledge of whatever permits are being pulled or whatever land is being purchased to know exactly that, which is why we had you on the show. How do people get in touch with you if they're looking for someone? Now, I know it's a tough market, but obviously they need an expert.
No, we're still doing business. It's Mendocino Commercial Realty, MCR at smartbiz.biz.
Okay.
702-892-7777. Good Vegas number. And we welcome investors. We'll figure out a way to get it done. I think what's happening is the return of 6% or so is what one has to look for.
Right. Thanks, Ron. Thanks very much for being on the show again. And thank you for tuning in. I'm Jeff Barton, your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll see you next time.